Football fans, check out ProFootballCentral.com for all the latest NFL news and analysis. Also, check out the very popular Pro Football Central radio network for awesome NFL talk around the league. Go to ProFootballCentral.com. ProFootballCentral.com.
And welcome everybody back to Cowboys Central Radio. We are now joined by Dallas Cowboys linebacker DeVonte Holloman. DeVonte, thanks for jumping on the show. And it's been a while since we talked. We had you on my other show that I had for the NFL draft right after you were drafted by the Dallas Cowboys. So first off, what's been your perception change from when you were drafted by the Cowboys to now being 11 weeks into the season?
First off, thanks for having me. And the only thing that's changed is, I got my feet wet a little bit. I'm accustomed to, how things work in this league. And, I'm just trying to do everything still, like I said earlier, I can to do to help my team win.
And, DeVonte, have there been any things that surprised you about making the full-time change to linebacker? Of course, you started as a safety at South Carolina and moved into that spur linebacker hybrid safety role. Making the full change to outside linebacker here, have there been any things that surprised you that needed more work, or things that came easily to you with the transition from safety?
The only thing that came easily to me was probably covering. And, the toughest thing about it still is, me knowing how to fit the run. That's something that I work on day in and day out. And it comes with studying and, watching guys like Dez Bryant, Bruce Carter, Sean Lee, Ernie Sims, watching those guys, learning from those guys. I'm working on it day in and day out.
And DeVonte, is there one guy on the Cowboys roster as far as the linebackers that's kind of like your mentor, your go-to guy that he pulls you aside? Would that be Sean Lee or Bruce Carter, or who would it be that you go to when you need help figuring stuff out?
It's definitely Sean Lee. He studies the defense a lot, and he spends, numerous hours meeting with coaches and, doing extra on his own. And, I kind of watch that, and then, whenever I do have questions, I come to him. He's very personable. He'll relate it to me any way he can. He's a young guy, I'm a young guy, so he's a good teacher as well as a player.
And you mentioned Sean and his role as a captain. Is he still just as active? Now that he's been out with this injury, in sort of the weekly game planning and in your position group meetings?
Yes, he's preparing for every game like he's playing, so you couldn't even tell the difference from the inside, if he's hurt or not. Like I said, he helps everybody out, so he prepares for every game, even though he's out like he's playing.
So, DeVonte, I know tomorrow we have the game against the Raiders. We were just kind of curious if there are any charities or anything that you were working on off the field that maybe you would like to let our listeners know about. Maybe they could help out in any way that they can.
Today, I'm actually doing the signing from 5 to 6 at the Gaylord Hotel. All you got to do is bring 5 cans to donate to a charity or those who are in need, and you can sign and you get an autograph, take pictures of me and George Selby today from 5 to 6 at the Gaylord Hotel.
Awesome. We'll make sure that we get that out there on Twitter, too, so that the fans in the area can get over there and see y'all. And then, one thing that we had talked about, the Cowboys coming back off the short week, how has the team mood been this week? Obviously, it seemed to be an emotional win over the Giants. Has that carried over into this week's practice, in terms of just the team's overall outlook and how they've gone about their business on this short week?
Not at all. We know that game is, well over with. That was Sunday night, and like you said, it's a short week, so, we don't get a full 6 days to prepare again for another game. We got about 3 days, and, we've been pretty focused this week, not letting outside distractions and things like that get in the way, family, and, of course, Thanksgiving and things like that get in the way. So my sense from the team is that we're pretty focused for this game Thursday.
Yeah, and talking about this Thursday, obviously it's Thanksgiving. In your house, are you the guy that goes after the turkey leg, or is there a fight for that?
It used to be pretty legit. My dad would get it, and now that I got my own family and my own house, I guess I'll be the guy that gets the turkey leg this year.
But it's good to hear that you get to be the king of the table this year. I'm
glad to finally get that.
Well, and with this week, we look forward to you continuing to grow in your role in this defense as well. Is there anything that our fans should expect from the Raiders in terms of your game planning? Any things that you've seen that the linebackers are paying special attention to that fans should look forward to in between turkey and dessert in terms of what they'll see on the field from the Cowboys this week?
They have a great offense. They got two good quarterbacks playing right now for them. We don't know if Pryor's going to play. They also have great running backs, the fastest skill position probably in the league right now. So they're very dangerous in what they do. They do a lot of different things. We prepare really well, and hopefully we'll be able to stop those things on Thursday.
And to stick with the theme of the holiday games, is this your first holiday?
Yeah, this is my first game.
In, or are you used to playing on holiday in the past?
No, sir. This is my first game ever playing on Thanksgiving.
It definitely puts a different spin on the week with the short week. It does give you sort of the advantage of an extra bye week to continue to get folks healthy coming back out of it, sort of a mini bye week with the long preparation going into the following week. Is it a typical week? Do you resume right after the Thursday game in terms of practice, and they give you off all the way through the weekend? How does the holiday week look for the players?
Depending on win or loss, we'll definitely get Friday and Saturday off and, spend some time with the family. But, hopefully we get this win and we'll go from there.
And talk about this week is rivalry week in college football, and obviously from South Carolina. This week's game is going to be Clemson, and I know in your career y'all never lost to them. Are you going to be able to get out there and watch that game? I know that South Carolina is getting prepared to try and get to the SEC championship so that they can try and make a BCS bowl this year.
I would love to make it out there, but unfortunately I'll be in Dallas watching it on TV. Rooting them on, of course, and it's a big game for them. They control their destiny. Well, not really. They win. Everything else will take care of itself. But it's a must win for them.
Well, DeVonte, Patrick mentioned your career at South Carolina. You actually are from Charlotte originally, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And I heard that there was an interesting story regarding your high school career that probably is somewhat unique. I certainly had never heard of a player. You want to tell the listeners about your high school career in terms of the state championships there that you were able to participate in?
Yeah, I started out in North Carolina at Independence High School. I went to 3 state championships there, won 2 of them. Then my senior year, I transferred to South Point in Rock Hill, South Carolina. And I also won a championship in South Carolina. So I'm probably one of the few players to win a high school state championship in 2 different states.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool story about being able to win state championships in multiple states. But I also know that there at South Point that y'all had a good team that year, and I know that Stephon Gilmore, who's in the NFL now with the Buffalo Bills, and obviously Javion Clowney also went there. But all 3 of y'all went to South Carolina together. So as far as getting to play with those guys for the state title and then going to South Carolina together, was that a big thing for y'all to all go together?
It wasn't planned. Everybody, me and Stephon were always talking about, do what's best for you. What might have been best for him might not have been best for me. So, everybody had the mindset to do, what was best for them and, their career going forward. And it just so happened to be that South Carolina happened to be that place. And, I loved every second playing with those guys for a couple more years.
When you get there ahead of some underclassmen that follow you, do you take a pretty active role in the recruitment of any of the younger guys, or do you kind of just let them find their own way at that point?
I let them, go their own way. Of course, I tell them my honest opinion, how good school Carolina is. But, it worked for me and it worked for Stephon, it worked for Clowney, but it might not work for other guys. So, and in the end, I want the best for everybody and, wherever that may be. I'd be glad if it is South Carolina, but if not, I'd like to see them succeed as well.
And DeVonte, I know that you have a lot going on today. Y'all try to prepare for the Raiders, but one quick question I want to ask you before we let you go. There's been a lot of talk about Dez Bryant being very vocal on the sidelines. Looking over and seeing him, be talking to the team and getting them pumped up. Does that get y'all pumped up on defense to get out there and get the ball back to him?
Yeah, just to see how passionate he is, and we see his work ethic every day, and sometimes it's taken the wrong way from guys outside the locker room, but in the locker room, we know he means well. We know how much he loves us as a team, and how much he loves football. Period, and that just rubs off on everybody. So it definitely motivates the defense.
Well, it's definitely great to get a player's perspective on that. Certainly there's a big reaction from the media when they see how animated and demonstrative he is, especially without the audio that goes along with it. So definitely good to hear from that perspective inside the locker room. Well, we definitely we wish you the best in your journey. Hope to see you on the field in the base defense here soon as you get back, and wish you all the best tomorrow.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me again.